all the way from Azeroth. This is Kingdomcast with Leia and Serenity.
Hello, EK, and welcome back to Kingdomcast. I'm Serenity.
And I am Leia.
And we are your co-hosts.
So, Serenity, how was your Thanksgiving?
It was awesome. I actually went to my mom's house, and we had a nice little dinner and kept it nice and simple.
Did it include bacon?
No, actually, we didn't have bacon. Kind of sad now.
That must have been very upsetting for you.
Yeah, that's okay, because actually, my mom makes a really good spinach dip, and I kind of just stole that and took it home.
That sounds amazing. Can you send me some?
It's all gone now, but maybe next time.
Oh my goodness.
Well, what did you guys do?
My Thanksgiving was great. We went to my parents and we ate a lot of food, and then Iki and I came home and passed out. But there actually was a lot of stuff going on in the guild while you and I were gone. Jess and Alex were super kind enough to do an achievement run to keep our guildies who either are not from the United States or don't celebrate Thanksgiving or who had no place to go for Thanksgiving together, and they got to do something and not be alone. So it was super awesome of them to do that, and I heard it was really successful. So thanks to Jess and Alex for doing that. So, can we just discuss how exciting it is that Tomb is gone? I don't think I've hated a raid more than I hated Tomb.
Oh, I kind of missed it already, though.
Missed what? Watching my stream and making fun of me?
Oh, yeah.
There were some teams that obviously finished high. Sellswords, Force, and Vanguard soaked Mythic KJ, and they are cutting edge again. Congratulations, guys.
Yeah, awesome job.
And right now, as of the taping of this podcast, we have 4 teams that have already cleared Heroic and Taurus. Sellswords, Force, Vanguard, and Onslaught. So awesome job, guys. Way to clear fast.
Awesome job.
Umbra is currently running right now. So is Dreadnought. So we will see how they finish out the week. And I believe Requiem still has a run to go on Monday. So they could very well finish out 11 of 11 as well. Because of the new raid, some of our weekly runs have changed. So if you are not aware, Militia is now only going to be one night. It is Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. It's going to be normal and Taurus. Still contact Zate or CJM. I have given up the reset run as my team now farms on Tuesdays, but Kindaria has taken over. The time has changed. It now starts at 3 p.m. Obviously, this is all server, which is Pacific Standard Time, and that is going to be normal and Taurus. We have a new run, which is called Thirsty Thursday. It's obviously on Thursdays at 5 p.m. Drinking is encouraged, not required. It is run by Alex and Jess. We have Inri's Friday Night Nighthold is continuing, still at 5 p.m. The Friday night fun runs have adjusted what they will be running. The 6 p.m. run will be Heroic TOS. Your contact is still Jessica. And the 9 p.m. run is normal and Taurus, and your contact is still Kaylee. Taro's Face Road run has not changed, nor has Flit's Saturday Morning Fun Time run. However, that is now normal and Taurus. And the Sunday Stroll has actually changed to be an achievement run. That is at 3 p.m. And again, that is Alex or Jess. Serenity, I understand that we have some PvP stuff going on now, right?
Yes, we have 2 new runs going on. We have an RBG run on Thursdays at 6:30 and Saturdays at 2 p.m. server. And we also have a PvP team coming up. The team will be named Ambition and will run on Wednesday and Monday at 8 to 11 p.m. And this will be run by Tracers.
And who's running the RBGs?
That will be Kindaria.
Oh, that's always a fun time.
Always.
And we actually have a new team that is forming. It's a late night weekend team. It's going to be called Eternity. It's going to be run by CJM. You probably know him from Militia. He's been doing that with Zate for the last month or 2. It's going to be Friday and Saturdays from 10 p.m. to 1 a.m.
All right. And our banking team has been hard at work for preparing for Antorus. They have provided all of our teams with feasts and flasks and cauldrons and a whole lot of other stuff just coming up for this new raid. Also, they helped out our open runs as well. So they've been doing some great stuff. Keep an eye out for our website. We have different listings for different materials that we'll need for that month. A lot of them will give you some cool prizes, and it's a great way to give back.
Yeah, they've done an amazing job. Thanks so much to Jess and the banking team for all of your hard work.
Yes, thank you.
We need to discuss the elephant in the room, which is called BlizzCon. I was at work during it, so I watched it on my phone with my boss's knowledge. She really didn't seem to care, just because I was still working. So, I mean, obviously, the most important announcement was the new expansion. So I want to know what your thoughts are of the new expansion. And a lot of people are kind of upset that it's kind of going back old schoolish. So what do you think?
It's going to be interesting because it's very different from what we've seen in the past now. I mean, it is definitely seeming more like it's going to be PvP focused. And I mean, for me, that's not really what I do. But I mean, it seems like there's going to be a little bit more content too for us raiders and PvEers. So I guess we'll see.
I need to back up. As someone who doesn't care about lore, and yes, I feel like everybody is like freaking out right now who's listening to this. I do not care about lore. You can ask my team, they'll start talking about it, and I'll be like, huh? The one thing I always knew was that we don't like Horde. We were working together, and that was kind of not fun for me. So I'm kind of looking forward to having it go back to the old school. I come from the very beginning, but my favorite expansion I always tell people was Burning Crusade. There was that world PvP there. And I'm not a PvPer, but I really kind of enjoyed that because every once in a while my guild would be like, you know what? Let's go out to Nagrand and let's go kill things. And we would, I can't even remember what that place was. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't remember now. It was so long ago.
But we would go like just troll and hang out there and see how long we could keep it from the horde. Like it was just a spur of the moment thing with our guild, and I'm kind of looking forward to possibly being able to do that, especially with a guild of our size. I think it's going to be exciting. I'm excited about the new race stuff. However, I'm kind of annoyed that my druid isn't going to be able to be a cool elf. So
Hey, you can always race change. It's fine.
why would I want to do that?
Well, So you're gonna go back to PvP, and so you heard it here first. Leia's gonna start a world PvP team.
I don't know about that. It's more like a random thing where I just feel like I want to go kill some horde right now. Let's go do it. And it's fun, and I loved it because you got rewards and you could buy stuff, and it wasn't super serious. Like I can't do super serious PvP. It just makes my eyes bleed. So
All right, never mind.
so what are you excited about? Is there anything that you're looking forward to?
I don't know.
Okay, the most important question, will you make a return to raiding next expansion?
That is a great question because I have really no idea. I don't know.
Well, I had a good time chatting with the guild about it. I thank you to Zebu and Inri for making a Discord channel for that, so we could all kind of watch it together, even though we weren't really together. So that was super fun, and we'd love to hear what you thought about it. And obviously, Discord is there for that. So let us know at Serenity or at Leia, and tell us what you think about the new expansion and BlizzCon and all that stuff. All right, we're going to be getting to our guests in a minute, but I would be remiss as a social media director to not point out that there are a ton of different ways that you can follow this guild outside of Azeroth. We are on Facebook. We are on Twitter. We have 1 billion people streaming. Okay, that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but we have a lot of streamers, and some of them are really fun to watch. We have an Instagram, we have a YouTube, and of course, we have a website.
And you can find all the links on our website at eternal-kingdom.com. So tonight we have Zate and Inri with us. Zate's our guild leader of Eternal Kingdom, which formed in 2013 with one purpose, to make the world a better place. Despite the size of our guild, he's continued to successfully keep that mission statement at the forefront. Besides guild leader, he has worn many hats in this guild since its inception and continues to be incredibly involved with all aspects of the community.
And we also have Inri, who joined Eternal Kingdom in October of 2016 and became the Director of Community Coordination a few short months after. Since taking over this position, the amount of recurring weekly events has grown to around 8 to 10, depending on the time during the tier. She headed the September fundraiser to benefit victims of Hurricane Harvey and Irma, raising over $3,000, and a slew of other one-time events have been added as well that have given new life to our community and ensure that something is always going on within Eternal Kingdom. Zate and Inri are here today to discuss our second annual Toys for Tots fundraiser. Yay!
I'm so excited to be here. Like, this is going to be so fun, honestly.
We're excited to have you guys here. So before we kind of get into talking about Toys for Tots, Zate, I think there's something that a lot of people want to know. So can you tell us what made you come up with our community purpose of making the world a better place?
Yeah, well, most people aren't around to remember that that was not always the thing that was on the top of the website or whatever. I was updating and changing information. This was all an experiment in my brain as I was going, right? I was told I was insane for wanting to start a guild that had 3 teams and whatnot, and had the idea of creating an atmosphere where people would actually enjoy logging into the game and could play at different levels at different times in their life and kind of transition through the WoWscape. But as I was developing it, I came up with 3 pillars, and then from those 3 pillars, and it was always there, it was always make the world a better place. That's always what I was trying to do, but I didn't necessarily put those words to it right. And as I kind of honed in on what the community was really, what was the essence of this community, like I said, I came up with the 3 pillars, and then from that, make the world a better place emerged.
So, Inri, what drew you to Eternal Kingdom?
It's kind of funny, actually, because what drew me to Eternal Kingdom, it's going to sound really silly, but one of the big things was the prestige of it. I was told I was really dissatisfied in the last guild that I was in, not because of the community. The community is great. They're actually a lot of the people that I was in the guild with that was in before, I'm still really good friends with, but the rating just was not at the level that I wanted. So, and I was the heals lead of like the guild, right? So what I wanted to do was kind of take a step back from responsibility and be a small fish in a big pond. Yeah. So I upped to Eternal Kingdom. I upped to Eternal Kingdom when there were some new teams forming at the beginning of Legion, and that was how I got in. And then, yeah, that was it. I mean, the rest was history, basically. But what I really liked about Eternal Kingdom, other than people telling me that I would love it here, was that I really liked the 3 pillars. That was something I was really, really interested in. What really in particular drew me, though, from a personal level, was the fact that on the website it says, you know, you will never be discriminated against regardless of what you've got going on in your life, as long as you're in Eternal Kingdom. And that was something I really, really wanted to be a part of. Like, I really believed in like the mission statement or the community purpose, whatever you want to call it. I really loved the structure of it. I'm really a structural type of person. It just seemed like a big family that you could sign up to be a part of, and that was what drew me.
I completely agree.
So you step back from doing leadership stuff, and now you're the director here. So.
Yeah, I just, I mean, I can go into all that if you'd like. I don't know if you were going to ask me about that later, but.
Good job with that, Henry.
I just kind of fell into it. Like, it was weird. Like, I came in, I was on X team, which eventually became Ronin and then is now Requiem. But it's a very different team today than it was then. The team that it was then, there was a lot going on. There was a lot of leadership changes because it was a new team getting off the ground. I had told them, as the, not falling apart, but as leadership was kind of getting shuffled around, I told them, hey, I came from being heals lead in my old guild, so I have this experience, several years of experience. So that was how I ended up becoming a Templar to begin with, was because of that. I was the heal lead for what is now Requiem team. And then the position opened up because Sin stepped down, he retired from the game, and I can't remember if somebody approached me or I approached someone, but somehow I started talking with Bell or Belisma, and we had kind of started talking about the direction of like EK, where things were going. Like, a lot of things were happening. There was a big break off. Like, things were shifting. Things were changing in Eternal Kingdom. It was becoming something that it wasn't a year ago. Like, the Eternal Kingdom today is not recognizable, to me at least, what it was when I joined. So I had a direction. I wrote a proposal of what I wanted to do like with Eternal Kingdom and what I thought I could be capable of. So that was kind of how it all happened. Like, I did a long trial process, constant communication with upper leadership. I didn't even really know Zate all that well for the first couple months. Like, I didn't really do a whole lot of communicating with him. It was mostly through Bell. And it just kind of grew from there. Like, honestly, like, much like the guild at large, like, it was just a very organic, like, natural process.
And I was there for that.
Yeah, and then I met you, which was amazing because, like, when all of that happened, like, I didn't know anybody in EK. Like, I was brand new. I didn't know who anyone was. Like, I had no friends or anything. I would sit, around, like, by myself and not really do a whole lot outside of, like, the scheduled raids, right? And then Belle told me, hey, you're going to need somebody to help you. Like, you're going to need, like, a second in command, essentially. And you were one of the names that came up, like, and you were somebody that approached me, obviously. And, I mean, it's just been amazing. Like, it's been such a pleasure knowing you. Like, you really are, like, one of my best friends. So that's really one of the greatest things that's come out of this too. Like, so yeah, I mean, people always point to me and say like, oh, Henry does this, Henry does that. Like, I really don't think they realize how much you do and how much you help me to make me be successful and to make this a success.
Oh.
So our annual Stream-A-Thon's coming up on December 9th and 10th for Toys or Tots. How did this idea come about?
Well, we dug around for a bunch of different charities. And of course, the big issue is always, we're going to steal the money, And so we were trying to figure out a way to directly donate and whatnot, and all the different charities. And it was Sin who eventually came up with Toys for Tots. And we tried to find direct links. And I don't know, it's kind of a difficult thing to do to try to make sure that the money never touches your hands when people are donating. So we weren't able to get a direct link, but we still had the donations, and we could prove that we donated and all that. That's a better question for Sin, who is no longer here. I do remember having quite a bit of discussion about what would be best, and we landed on that one as it was very appropriate for the season. And I think it's something that when you're trying to make the world a better place, brightening the mood of a child is definitely on one of the higher rings of things you can do.
I completely agree. I love the fact that we're doing Toys for Tots. I think it's a great charity.
Yeah, I was talking to someone in the guild earlier. I think it was last week, but they didn't realize that it's actually sponsored by the Marine Corps.
Yep.
It's funny you mentioned that because I didn't know that either until a few months ago.
I didn't know that until just now.
Yeah, like you'll see like Marines standing by boxes with people to put toys in.
Yeah, we always have a box at work at our building, and it gets filled out pretty quickly. So, Henry, you were fairly new to the guild last year, but you were involved in our last Stream-A-Thon. How much money did we end up raising then?
Last year, we ended up raising over $5,000. I don't know the exact amount because when it had happened last year, I was still brand new. I was nobody. I was still a trial. But it was weird, like, because I was so new and I didn't really know anybody, didn't really have any friends. Like, it wasn't something that I had signed up for. It wasn't even something that I really knew about in depth. I had just kind of heard that it was going on and was like, oh, wow, like, that's really cool. It's really awesome. And then it was late one night, and then somebody had asked in guild chat if a healer could come do, like, some carries. And I was like, oh, like, I can do that. Like, and I wish, like, to this day, like, I cannot remember who it was that I grouped with. Like, if you're listening and you grouped with me during last year for Toys for Tots, like, please tell me, because honestly, I think this is going to sound corny, but in a way, like, it really did change my life. Like, when I did it last year, I've done charity work and things like that before, and volunteering and things like that in my personal life. But something like this, doing something that I absolutely loved and knowing that it was going to help people, like, you just can't beat that. Like, it's a very unique experience. And it was something that I told people during Harvey too. Like, if you do this, like, you're going to walk away with like a sense of pride that you've never felt before. Like, you're honestly like doing something good, like, for no reason. Like, so doing that honestly is what sparked me. Like, when the opportunity came up to be like the director of community coordination, or whatever title you want to call me, that was the inspiration, like, honestly. And it inspired a lot of things in my life, like just being charitable, like being a kinder person, like those sorts of things. But it really was life-changing for me.
Do you remember how many keys we've run in between our two events so far?
I don't know how many keys were run for Toys for Tots because I don't think that information was kept. I know for Harvey, Z-Boot did a lot of the background, like, spreadsheet keeping and that sort of thing, a lot of the infrastructure that people didn't see. And I believe that for Harvey, we carried, I think it was well over 200 keys, maybe 250 keys even. But it was a lot. We did a lot that weekend.
A lot for 12 hours.
Yeah, and that was only 12 hours.
And one of those was Bacon's. We carried you.
Yeah, we did a couple.
So Zate, you kind of touched on this earlier, but I just wanted to kind of double back on that. So people have concerns about the money that they're donating touching the guild's hands. Just want to confirm with you that that is not happening, correct?
Correct. And I understand the concern. When we were first doing it, I was a little, offended that someone would suggest that we'd steal the money. But it makes a lot of sense with all the scams out there. It'd be easy to do that kind of stuff. But no, we don't do anything with the money. It's 100% goes straight to Toys for Tots. It's not going to be used, for server fees or anything like that. It's definitely just all charity. And like I said, 100% that we give back to Toys for Tots. And we have a track record now, which is nice to have, so that, if people are a little bit nervous, we can say, well, there's some other events we've done that we can show that we've actually done what we said we were going to do, and we will continue to do that.
I think the nice thing too is that we can set up the website directly through Toys for Tots, so people can just go there, and it doesn't have to go to like a PayPal or anything like that, which is what I think people would be way more concerned about.
Yeah, that's correct. The Eternal Kingdom link that has the donation at the end of it, that redirects to the actual Toys for Tots website, so it is their official website.
So another question, Zate, that I've gotten asked: do people have to pay to get their keys carried?
They do not. This is a completely at your own volition. And the idea is, kind of this karma thing where we're doing something nice and hopefully you'll be willing to do something nice in return. And there's some people that they don't have a lot of money to give, but they have time, and vice versa, right? So of course you're encouraged to be generous with your time if you're going to do the carrying, or with your money if you want to get a key carried. Even if you have an alt or something like that, there is no requirement to give whatsoever. And we're not going to put pressure on you. We're not going to at the end of the run say, hey, make sure you do at least $5 Toys for Tots, nothing like that. It's all just out of the goodwill of our hearts that we're running the keys. And, then of course, presuming it'll be out of the goodwill of the hearts that those people would be willing to donate.
Yeah, we get some really good stream watchers that donate too. I know, Serenity, you kind of were watching every single stream during Harvey, and I think you saw people doing that, didn't you?
Oh yeah, definitely. The one thing that when I was watching all the streams though, the more active that you are with your chat when you are streaming, the more likely that you get that following and you'll get those kind of people that will kind of donate to our cause. So definitely, the one piece of advice I'd give to any of our streamers is that be active with your chat, pay attention. People are rooting you on and things like that. So feel free to be active with everyone and have some fun with this.
To add on to that, I had times where I was working the spreadsheet, so I got to watch different streams and I kind of went around to check out and see what people were doing. And I think you can back me up on this, Serenity. The 2 streams that had like the most activity were people who were really being super interactive, and they were Inri and Rathar. Rathar mostly because my team was trolling him, but another thing that helps is if you have a webcam on. People like to see who the heck is playing. I even turned mine on last time, and I never do it.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm way too lazy to get dressed up for every raid night of the week, but like I can put on some makeup for a weekend,
I didn't
right?
get dressed up. I just had a sweatshirt on. I was like, I don't care.
There you go.
So, Inri, how can someone sign up to get their key carried?
So if you're a member of Eternal Kingdom, obviously you have access to the Discord, and there is a category in our Discord for fundraising, and this is something that'll exist no matter what. So right now in the fundraiser channel, obviously the fundraiser that we're focusing on is Toys for Tots. So if you go to the pinned messages of that channel, there are plenty of links that basically will direct you to where you need to go depending on what you're looking for. And those links are signing up as a key carrier, having your key carried, and then the donation link to donate. And there's the flyer there that people can use for whatever, whether it's social media or to put on their streams. There's a chat overlay file for streamers as well. And then there's an event file for streamers who want to add that to their Twitch.
So do we know how many carry teams we have scheduled right now?
I think right now we're hovering around 8 to 10 for each block of the 24-hour period, but the maximum that we will have will be around 15. Usually it fills up like kind of toward the end of the sign-up period, and the deadline to sign up is the 8th.
Okay, and how many besides yourself who are super crazy and I believe Hanti's team are going for 24 hours?
Oh, gosh, I think there's a few. There's us, there's Hanti, let me see. There's a team from Ascension that's doing the full 24 hours, I believe. Yeah, I think that's it. I think there's about 3 or 4 so far that have committed to the full 24 hours, which is nice. I'm nervous about that myself, honestly. Like, I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I keep telling myself in the back of my mind, like, it's for the kids, right? It's for charity, for a good thing. So I'll suck it up.
Make sure you get some breaks in there.
I will be sleeping part of the time, but another part of the time I will be doing some behind the scenes work. So can you kind of talk about what people are doing behind the scenes to help this run?
Yeah, it's crazy because I kind of touched on it earlier, but in Eternal Kingdom, like nothing is done by one person by any means. Like, and Toys for Tots is something like we immediately started organizing right after Harvey ended. It was something I've been thinking about this for a whole year, because when I was offered like this position, they told me initially, you're gonna have to have a plan. Like, you have a year to have a plan, but this is something we want. Like Zate and Bell told me, like, you need to figure this out and like make it happen, basically. So I thought about it for a really long time. I was really, really nervous. I was kind of glad. Obviously, I'm not happy, that the hurricanes happened and that so many people were devastated. And obviously, there are still people that are devastated from storms that have happened in this past hurricane season. But on the flip side, I was kind of happy that we had a fundraiser, right? Because it was kind of like a stepping stone to this, which is like a much larger scale. So I feel like I got a lot of experience from that. But the people behind the scenes, like we have spreadsheet coordinators. There's a team of about 6 or 7 of us, I think, maybe more. We have a media and outreach team. We have a Twitch moderation team as well to moderate Twitch chats. And then just the general team of people who support me, who support the cause, who are supporting like the mission, and helping me get this off the ground and make this work. Like, it's been really incredible, honestly, like being able to work with like a full team of like 10, 15 people to do this. Like, I could not do it by myself, and I don't do it by myself.
Yeah, it's super fun to be part of the organization. And as stressful as it may sound, like the spreadsheet part was so fun for Harvey, just because I was working with Zenari and she and I just had a bunch of laughs doing it.
Yeah, and I think what people don't realize too is like this event, like a fundraiser of this size, of this scale, it's not just carrying keys, right? Like all of these things have to be created, all the graphics, all the sheets, all the information, all the input, getting your key carried, like all of those things have to be created. And like we have a full team of people who are not doing key carries at all. Their sole purpose in this fundraiser is to do the background stuff. You don't see them, you don't hear from them, but they're there and they're working behind the scenes. And I'm working with them this whole time, just like in Harvey. And that cannot be understated. Like I'm so grateful for those people that they're willing to sacrifice their time and set aside not doing keys or doing something like that and being able to do this. And it's incredible. It's a huge change from last year because Sin stayed up last year for the whole 24 hours. This is what I've been told. And I don't think he ran any keys at all. From everything I've been told, and I was told by multiple people that he just stayed up for the full 24 hours and coordinated all of this by himself, which is like incredible. I don't know how he did it. Like I would lose my mind. So it's just, I'm really honored that we have so many people in Eternal Kingdom who are willing to step up and help and truly do believe in like what Eternal Kingdom is all about.
Now, not only the runs, but last time for the Harvey fundraiser, we had a couple giveaways too for our carriers, didn't we?
We did. It was really awesome. The generosity of Eternal Kingdom really surprises me every single day. We had somebody, his name is Bonino, and he offered up a DX Racer chair that was offered up as a raffle for the people who were key carriers because a special Discord channel is created for all key carriers. So we can kind of communicate with them, know what's going on with the keys and stuff like that. And then at the end of that, we raffled off the chair. So Vexa won that. That was really awesome. It was like a $350 chair, just out of the kindness of somebody's heart. Like that wasn't even toward the charity at all. Like that was just like, to celebrate the fact that people were willing to sacrifice their time. And on top of that, he also made a personal donation to the cause. We also had some other people who donated game time, some things like that. It was just really awesome, like how generous everybody was. Like it really blew me away. And that's going to be something too that we'll have a bit of in this one. We're going to be having a contest that I don't want to talk about too much yet because I'm going to announce it at the meeting. But we're going to be having a contest for the key carriers right off the bat before a key is even carried at all. And then hopefully, maybe we'll get some other people who want to donate like some game time or like pets or something like that to the people who are dedicating their time to doing this. But yeah, I mean, all that, we didn't ask for that. I never asked a single person, hey, like, give us stuff so we can give it away. Like it was all people approaching me saying, hey, I want to give, and it's so awesome to see that today.
Yeah, this guild's pretty cool.
And last I checked, it looks like our Toys for Tots fundraiser already had a little bit of donations.
Yeah, we do. Let me check. We're at over $200 now. It's really awesome. Let me see.
Through some of the outreach that the team has already done, we've actually gotten donations from other guild communities, World of Warcraft, just because they like what we're doing. And just in general, I think people have already started donating.
Yeah, it's been really great. I just checked. We've raised $205.08 out of our $5,000 goal, and a lot of those donations already came from a guild that's pretty similar to ours. They're called Seraph, and they're on a different server and they're Horde side. So that's been really awesome. That because with Harvey, and with Toys for Tots beforehand, all of this stuff is on Twitter. It's on social media. Like we're on the map, right? People are retweeting it. Like Method shouted us out a couple times for Harvey, and like other big popular guilds, like some of the World First Racers. And things like that. And Seraph was a guild that noticed us, and some people that I've been talking to, their leadership, they're very kind people. So it was really awesome. Like them and then some of their members donated a good chunk of that money that we got before, this was like a month ago. This is before any of this is even happening. A key has not been carried yet. So it's really awesome to see communities within this larger World of Warcraft community supporting each other.
There's some really cool people over there.
They were super nice when I talked to them. So it is really cool to see that we're not alone.
So Zate, will you be carrying any keys?
Oh, well, I am not any good at this game. I am a casual player. No, I would love to carry keys. One of the things that I love about WoW is playing WoW, obviously, but as the responsibilities have grown in the community, a lot of the things I do are setting up and making sure things are running smoothly behind the scenes. So I certainly could not carry. Maybe I will get myself carried. In general, I'm getting carried all the time by all the great workers, the people that believe in the vision, right? The people that are willing to carry others, Henry putting this together. I could start saying thanks to a lot of people that are helping everything go along, but you guys have already been saying thanks, and I'd probably miss someone. There's just so many people that are really coming together with a collective effort to make the world a better place, which is kind of where it starts and ends. Making the world a better place is probably not going to happen with me trying to carry anybody. It would probably lead to frustration and anger and no one donating any money. So I will not be trying to carry anybody, though I will, of course, be supporting and watching the streams and probably be in meetings here and there as everything's going on.
My team will carry you, Zate.
I'll come find you.
Sorry.
Just make sure you sign up.
Yeah, you gotta sign up, Zate. We won't carry you if you're not on the list.
So when we hit our goal, Zate, are you gonna do a song on stream for us?
Okay, back when I was young, I was singing, and someone elbowed me, and they told me, "Hey, could you please stop singing? Because when you sing, you're really off tune, and then it makes me off tune." So I think this would be a bad idea. Maybe I can do like one line. I don't know.
If Serenity writes the song, right?
Sure.
All right, we'll work on something.
Yes, we
I'll auto-tune
can.
my voice, right? So I sound good.
Hey, that's a
So
good idea.
I just want to personally, while I have you here and can corner you, I want to thank you for making Eternal Kingdom. I was honestly on the verge of quitting the game like completely when my husband told me to transfer over, and now I feel like I love the game again, like I did when I first started playing. So thank you.
Well, good. Same to you. Thank you for making Eternal Kingdom, because it is not a one-person show by any means, and I'm just one piece of the puzzle, and it's collectively working together that it is what it is. So we all have a part to play. So thank you, and thank you, Siri, for having me on the podcast and asking me all these great questions, and Henry for putting on the event, and of course, Leah, you as well.
Yeah, thank you
Thanks
for
for joining.
coming.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me too. This has been really awesome being able to do this. Like it sounds corny, but I honestly feel blessed to be like in Eternal Kingdom. Like being here has just been really, really positive for me. And I'm happy to do it.
Not corny, I said the same thing. Well, thanks for coming, guys. And if you have not signed up to be a key carrier, but you want to be, check out Discord. And if you want to have your key carried, please visit our website, eternal-kingdom.com. Welcome back, EK. The next topic we're going to discuss are guild mergers. We've had several really successful guild mergers in the last few months, and we have 3 people who came from 3 separate guilds with us right now. Chocolate Mix joined with the guild merger of Implosivo in August of 2017. He's a warrior on Team Onslaught, a cutting-edge team which finished 8 of 9 in Tuma's Sark Eris, and I believe they are already 11-11 heroic in Antaurus. Mings joined with a guild merger of War Demons in August of 2017. He is a monk healer. He's a healing lead for Imperium that finished 5 of 9 Mythic in Tomb. Additionally, he's also a member of the banking team, which coordinates the gathering of mats to supply teams with feast and cauldrons. And CJM joined with the guild merger of DNS in October 2017. He is a demon hunter and the lead of a militia, which is our recruiting/logs run. And they dipped into Mythic in Tomb and finished 3 of 9. And he is also the team lead for our newest team. Thanks so much for coming, guys.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank you.
So I'm going to kind of just go down the line. So we'll start with Chocolate. What made your group zero in on Eternal Kingdom as a landing spot?
Well, basically, we hit the small guild struggle, eventually not having enough people to actually step in to raid. So I kind of knew everything was on the downhill from there. So went to WoW Progress, started looking down from the top down, and I got to Eternal Kingdom. And I had to basically do like a Looney Tunes double take at the list of all the Mythic teams that were in the guild. I just thought to myself, like, there's just so much opportunity in the guild. Like, I have to at least check it out.
Awesome. Yeah, there is a lot. How about you, Mings?
We also had a time where our guild slowly dipped from about 30 active users to 12 active users at the beginning of TOS. And a group of us were pretty frustrated, and we started to look around. And I remembered that my son, about 6 months ago, told me about a guild that he joined, Eternal Kingdom. And I started talking to him about it, and I said, "Hey, buddy, do you mind if your old man joins the same guild that you're in?" And he said, "Sure, go for it. It's so big, no one will even know." And I told a bunch of my buddies that I'm gonna apply to this guild, and they couldn't believe it. All the Mythic teams that they had to choose from, and it just so happens that we pretty much all ended up on the same team,
With
which
me.
wasn't by design with you, and it's been exciting. But that's how I found out about it. It was my son who gave me permission to apply.
I love that
That's
your son had
awesome.
to give you permission.
It was permission.
And how about you, CJM?
So, just like the others, kind of, we had a few things that we were looking at when we were kind of shopping around. We didn't initially look at doing a merger, but one of our biggest recruit tools was taken, and of course, trying to like integrate smaller groups into us originally, and that's how we got most of our bulk members. The downside that we saw to that is just the turnover rate with that type of, we'll say, recruiting method. Is that group that you get in may not be a group that sticks around for long, and then you have a mass exodus of this group, and you may retain like maybe 1 or 2 people. What we ended up doing is actually reaching out to other guilds, and instead of going in a route of absorbing other guilds to try and increase our numbers, instead just trying to kind of not necessarily merge with them, but cooperate in a sense where we'll share raiders. And that's how we first encountered Eternal Kingdom. We talked to Pet, kind of built this, we'll say, like contractor work, essentially, to where if we needed people to fill our remaining slots for our team, especially during the later bit of Nighthold, if not the beginning of TOS, we would reach out to you guys in Eternal Kingdom and then pull in raiders. And the more we did that, the more we kind of noticed that it was just an easier transition to possibly just go straight to the guild. So that's kind of where we focused on it, is we just kind of targeted the one guild on the server that we saw as having the most raiders in it that are doing, or the most advanced is probably, I should say, best way to phrase that. And then we just kind of started talks.
Awesome.
So, Mings, what was your first impression of Eternal Kingdom?
There are people online. I log in, I get invited, and there's like 10 people immediately said, hello, welcome to the guild. And I looked at all the guild thing with all the list of the people on, and there were 180 some people on, not counting all of our sister guilds. And I was just shocked, all the people on.
That was the best answer ever.
I know, that was great.
How about you, CJM?
So first impression, once we actually got everyone over and into the guild, we kind of had already been working with a lot of Eternal Kingdom already by this point. So we had seen like just specific members. Coming into it, though, we definitely didn't see as much of the structure as we thought there was. At first, we thought our guild was like one of the most structured that we've seen, just based on our interactions with other guilds previously. And then the minute we hit that door, you kind of see this whole world open up where we actually have all that structure nice and laid out. We have that good-sized leadership team that's doing 20 different things, of course. So that was the biggest thing that we took away, was just how well structured and how maintained the guild was overall, especially for how many people are actually in it.
That's one thing that kind of surprised me too when I joined, is that there's so many people doing so many things, but it's all just organized really well.
Yeah, it really is.
So, Chocolate, what was your first impression?
Exactly like what Ming said. I got in the guild, it was late on a Wednesday, and I had to scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll through who the people were online. And like my name starts with the letter C, and I had to scroll 3 or 4 times to get there.
Nice.
Like, it's just the amount of activity in the guild was just absolutely just mind-boggling. It really was. And everyone's just like super friendly too.
I gotta tell a quick story of my first interaction with Chocolate. So I'm in a dungeon, and like halfway through, the person messages me, and I realize that they're from our guild, and it's Chocolate. And I'm like, oh, I didn't realize somebody like joined with me. And he said, well, I was trying to make a good impression that obviously didn't work.
Aww.
I was like, what?
Yeah, I remember because like when you log on, I have the social thing active, so all the people queuing up for things, it constantly pops up, and I was like, oh hey, someone from the guild's there. So yeah, I remember it was Nell Slayer, and up until the last boss, you had no idea I was even in the instance.
I wasn't
Weren't
paying
you healing
attention.
him?
I'm sorry.
You were a healer.
Yeah, but wasn't looking. But I wasn't looking at the guild name, because I joined a random thing and no one ever joins me like that. So it was like, oh, okay.
Surprise.
Oh my goodness. So, we've all kind of talked a little bit about your experience when you initially joined. Did you find something to like do immediately, or people to run things with? How were you welcomed, CJM?
Oh yeah, so I think I have an outgoing attitude anyway, so I just kind of talk a lot. I have Zate syndrome in that aspect, so like me and Zate probably don't know when to shut up correctly. So I don't really have issues finding people, and the best thing that you could really see is just the amount of people on at any one time in the guild. I think the lowest I think I've ever seen it was like one night at like 4:30 a.m. and there was like maybe 15, I think. But that's like the lowest I've ever seen it be. And pretty much anyone in the guild will tell you, like, no one's really hidden. Everyone's kind of outgoing, to where no matter what they're doing, they're always going to be taking in and trying to look at people. If you're trying to set something up, there was always people wanting to do stuff with you. So it wasn't hard finding things to do. Not to mention we have our public events that we do. So like the first actual guild event that I think I did was the first Keystone run that we did on, what was it? Hurricanes. The Hurricane Keystone run that we did for donations.
Oh yeah, back in September we did that.
Yep, I wasn't even in the guild yet, and I signed up and I was like, hey, this is something I want to do. And literally like thousands and thousands of people just whispering me is what it felt like. But yeah, so definitely not hard to find something to do, especially like even before you're in the people will always take and kind of fill that slot for you.
So, Chocolate, other than randomly joining me, how about you?
No, like I said before, I had joined a little bit later on a Wednesday evening, and within not even 15 minutes, I was in a Mythic Plus key group with Wraithar, Legion, and a couple other people doing Eye of Ajara, like right out of the gate, and it was just so incredible. Like it really just. I said 15 minutes from joining, get this huge warm welcome, and then instantly into keys. It's like, okay, let's get the 10 done for the week, right? And we just push keys like all that night.
And Mings?
I think my first experience was also keys. In my previous guild, it would take like a week to organize 5 people to do a mythic. And here, within 5 seconds, I had to turn people down when I advertised my key saying, no, I already have people. I'll get you if someone leaves. That was just a real cool experience because no one knew me, but they knew that if I had become part of the guild, that I must be okay. I'm still hiding some things though. And
Uh-oh.
I'm going to tell Zen about that.
I just feel that it's so welcoming that it's just a total enjoyment to advertise something and get it filled within seconds. It's really nice.
Yeah, it's hard to not get a key run. Like I feel like in our guild, you have no excuse to not get a key done.
All of you were part of some kind of team before. Chocolate, what was your experience coming in as the new guy like?
It's basically like joining a new school. The classmates are different, the teachers are different, but you got to open up, you got to make new friends. Like it was a bit daunting. I mean, I came in and I guess Arms Warriors are a bit of a unicorn class at the time, and I had people going out of their way to whisper me like, "Hey, I was checking out your logs. Like, I like what you're doing. Like, you want to do this team? You want to do this team? You want to run keys?" I was like just inundated with just messages. Just be friendly and just take a chance.
And you got yourself on a good team too. So you have
They're-
I know you have your little group of friends that you hang with.
They are a bunch of crazy people. I am a part of a cult. I need help. No, they're great people. They're honestly some of the best WoW memories. Honestly, come from Onslaught. They're just and I mean everyone from EK. Like I said, everyone is so welcoming and so friendly.
And Mings?
You know, it's always an uncertain thing when you're trialing with a new team, especially new to the guild, because you don't know anybody. They don't know you. All they see is your logs. A couple of the officers have read your application and talked to you in game. But when you get your feet wet and you start out with that first boss, and then you end up dying within like 30 seconds, you kind of get all
Did you
embarrassed.
die?
I think the first poll I did on Garoth, maybe it wasn't 30 seconds, maybe it was a minute into the fight. But I remember doing that. No one yelled at me, which in my previous guild they'd be yelling at me, and so I said, "Wow, it's pretty chill when it comes to taking on personal responsibility and helping someone out." But it was incredibly welcoming. And one of the first problems I ran into was, I think it was the next day, I advertised that I had a key, and 3 or 4 people whispered me, and they were all from the team. And I didn't remember their names. I'd only met them once. But it was really neat to see even your teammates going out of their way to help you, even though the whole EK community does that all the time. Great friendships already being formed.
And CJM?
It wasn't that bad as far as that new guy feeling. Like, truthfully, once you get in, it's kind of daunting just seeing, like I said, all the people on and everybody's doing different runs, and we have so much teams going on at once, and just all of this kind of, I don't want to call it a mess of things, but just all of this stuff that you're actually able to do. And usually in a smaller guild, or even just in I won't even say, I use normal guild lightly, because when I think of EK, I don't think of just a normal guild. We're more than that at this point. But when you think of a normal guild, it's kind of very basic. Like you have certain things going on at a certain time. There's not much all going on at the same time. Meanwhile, when you first get in, it's kind of like it hits like a truck to where it's like, well, there's 50 things I want to do, but I only have so much time that I can like give out. So as far as being a new guy in EK, it's not really too daunting as far as making friends or talking to people. No one's really hard to get along with that I felt. So honestly, it's easy to talk to people. It was easy enough to kind of build those friendships, that relationship. It's easy enough to take and look at possibly getting into something as far as like a team or a structured team, and even possibly, depending on what's happening, setting something up yourself, depending on what it is. So as far as being the new guy, I think the biggest thing that hits you is just not necessarily finding a team, but trying to limit yourself to just one thing, and finding that like specific thing that you want to do on that certain day.
So, all in all, how was your merger experience, Mings?
I think it was surprising. And when I say surprising, every step of the way, from first of all getting permission from my son and all the way through the application process and the interview process, I was approached by officers that weren't interested in me as part of their team, but still incredibly helpful in getting me connected to the right team for my schedule and my skill level. That was surprising. It felt like people more than just cared about the guild progression. We need to be number one on the server. And they cared about the members that they were bringing in. And that just surprised me. And every step of the way, when I brought my other guildmates with me, they got the same treatment. And they kept going, is this too good to be true? Are they really nice people? Do they really have rules and they follow them, the 3 pillars? Do they really care about professionalism and courtesy and, not making fun of people in non-political ways? I thought this is really too good to be true. And so the first week, as I'm telling all my guildmates, hey, you got to transfer over here and spend the money, I kept waiting for that shoe to drop where no, is too good to be true, and there's a major problem. And I think I asked a couple officers, so what's the problem? Where's that black sheep of the family that's being hidden? And it's not there. And that was surprising to me in a very good way. And I think the second thing, and someone mentioned it already, is just the organization made the experience flow very well. There weren't hiccups. When someone transferred to the server, someone was online to bring them into the guild and welcome them. The organization and the structure behind how you take care of guild mergers are amazing. Simply amazing. Well thought out, well executed, and the officers, no matter who's online at the time, will drop what they're doing and help. And that's pretty impressive. That's very impressive. And I love it. And I tell people about it all the time. Anytime I'm in a LFR or a pug and I find someone who is just doing their job and excelling at it, I'll always tell them, hey, go to the EK website, apply, put my name down there, and let's see if we can get you in if you're looking for a new guild. And several people have done that because the merger experience was surprising and amazing.
I think one of the reasons why it goes so well is officers in the guild are given the information from Zate, and he lets us know what's going on, who's coming in, what we have coming, so we know who to look for. And I think that really makes things a lot smoother.
Right.
CJM, you actually had, I think, a pretty close experience working with Zate because you started doing militia. So how would you think your merger experience went?
Oh, my merger experience was great. So like I said previously, we kind of already started working with EK pretty early on. Even though we weren't talking merger just yet, we had already talked about, the possibility. We talked about everything we wanted to achieve with our previous guild and everything. So we kind of already have a baseline set up when we first started pushing into a merger. As far as the transfer over, it was super clean, super smooth. We took and really just kind of, after we had decided as a guild that was the route we were going to take, we kind of were just all gung-ho about it. We were ready to bring everyone over. We took in, had everything basically nice and streamlined. Shout out to Maj. She did a great transfer process. She has it down pat to where no matter what type of guild you are, no matter how many people you have, no matter what you end up wanting to do with the merger, the actual transfer process, all the admin type paperwork type stuff, just makes it completely simple. So as far as just the experience overall, was really good. We had discussed earlier during the merger process, me and Zate, that was probably going to be the plan because he was already looking for someone to possibly take over the reins. Maybe that was just something that we could help fill, just because we were going from having a team to not necessarily getting a new team, but being able to kind of take over a team and go from there. So it was extremely pleasant all the way through. And honestly, it was just one of the smoothest experiences I've had with a merger in a while.
Well, thank you all for joining our podcast tonight. If anyone listening is interested in joining Eternal Kingdom via guild merger, please contact our guild leader Zate or our guild merger officer Jewett Kinda. If you're by yourself and looking to join our guild, please visit our website at eternal-kingdom.com. Thanks for listening to this month's podcast.
And we hope that you all have a wonderful holiday season, and we'll see you next year.
With plenty of bacon.